This episode is brought to you by Pure Energy Apothecary, a woman-owned skincare and wellness brand founded by my friend, Dawn Lancaster. Dawn and I go way back, deep diving into essential oils. We shared a passion for creating intentional products, just like the ones Dawn continues to craft today with Pure Energy Apothecary. When Dawn said she wanted to offer you 20% off Pure Energy products, I was thrilled. Pure Energy products are handmade in Vermont with ingredients you can pronounce, and they smell amazing. They are rooted in real aromatherapy. Visit pureenergyvt.com and use the code PURECHANGE for 20% off just for being a part of the Change Happened community. Pure products, pure purpose, pure energy. Welcome to Change Happened, Then What? Where in Season 2, you'll hear voices drawn here by one thing: change. Each episode brings you a story of hope, unpolished and unfiltered, where stories got messy, where people questioned everything, but also where they found a way forward. And maybe, just maybe, you'll find your own next steps in their words. Because when life breaks open, that's often when the most beautiful truths finally have room to grow. I'm your host, Heather Holt, and I am so happy to have you here today. Did you get the answer to last week's Change Challenge question right? Shanti was 14 when she first got pregnant. Thank you to everyone who submitted their answers at changehappenedpodcast.com. You're all entered into this month's drawing, which will be held on November 18th, for a chance to win a super soft tee or trucker hat. And don't forget, you can enter every week for more chances to win. Stay tuned until the end of today's episode for this week's Change Challenge question. Now, let's dive in. What happens when you're a 4.0 college student, a brilliant musician, a runner training for a marathon, and in one instant, all of it is shattered? One day, while out on a run, you're struck by a vehicle and everything changes. You go from being that driven student with endless plans ahead to someone who suddenly can't remember what 2 + 2 equals or how to walk. And yet, tucked deep inside your brain, something miraculous remains: music. For a while, it becomes your only form of communication. Today, I want to introduce you to Andy Johnson and let him share with you how his life changed in an instant and how he turned that moment of devastation into a life of purpose.
I had finished up 3 years of college and just finished running a half marathon, actually. Not really happy with my program that I was in. I wanted to switch schools and figured, you know what? I would transfer to a different school, figure out what I want to do with my music degree. And about 2 weeks before the race, I was training and was rounding the bend on my campus. And someone came up behind me in their pickup truck, was looking at something in the ditch, and swerved their wheel into me at 45 miles an hour. I came to, sort of, I was dazed, but in shock. I thought I could run and tried to run away from the scene. Thank goodness the guy got out of his pickup truck and tackled me, essentially, got me down to the ground and started screaming for help, because that's what probably saved my pelvis from shattering even further. I was in shock, going in and out of consciousness at the time. It was just a blur, and I'm just hearing a lot of this from what people have told me about the accident.
Let's pause here for a moment, because although this might sound unbelievable, it's actually not uncommon. Even though Andy doesn't remember these moments because of the traumatic brain injury he suffered, he's fortunate the man who hit him tackled him to the ground. According to his doctors, that action likely saved his life. Andy's pelvis was already shattered and his body had gone into what's called acute trauma or shock. When a person experiences a sudden, severe event like this, the body floods with adrenaline. The sympathetic nerve system takes over, what we know as fight or flight response. In that state, Andy probably wasn't feeling any pain at all. His body was running purely on survival instinct, likely trying to finish his run without realizing the extent of his injuries. That's what shock does. It protects you from the truth for just long enough to survive it. Adrenaline takes over, and your body moves before your mind catches up.
For some reason, I managed to get out my mom's full phone number. Out of all that stuff that was going on, I managed to get her phone number out of my head. The doctor called for my mom and dad immediately, and they came rushing into the room and saw that I was alive still. My head's just pounding. I'm in a neck collar because they thought I might have broken my neck. So I'm in and out of MRI machines, CT scans. I had a neuropsychologist come and take a look at me. I had to learn how to read and write again. I had to learn how to do math. And even though I had the brain injury and was having a hard time with speaking well and knowing how to add 2 plus 5, there's a piano in the main lobby of the hospital, and they brought me to the piano. I could play this melodic piece of music. I think it was a Nocturne by Chopin. I played it from memory.
Chopin, when 2 plus 5 isn't 7? That's what it was like for Andy. When he couldn't add numbers or remember words, he could still play. Somewhere deep inside his brain held on to one language it refused to forget: music. And when Andy was having a hard time speaking, he used music to show how he was feeling. If he was frustrated, the notes came out sharp and urgent. When he felt calm, they softened. And in the hospital, when time had no meaning and memory came and went, he would play, drawing on songs he hadn't consciously thought about in years. Research shows that music activates nearly every region of the brain, including areas tied to movement, emotion, and speech. In people with traumatic brain injuries, music therapy has been shown to rebuild neural pathways, improve coordination, and even help restore language when words are lost. For Andy, it wasn't just recovery, it was communication. Each note was a way to share what words couldn't. Each melody, a reminder that even when logic fails, the soul still remembers its song.
Neuroplasticity is a real thing. The brain continues to grow even after it's injured. It just forms new connections around the injured part. And that's how I think people's brains recover, is they go through this metamorphosis of healing. And it's really cool. The more we engage the brain and heal, the better off we are, is the theory.
Give the gift of calm. Dear Sweet One lullabies are personalized, astrology-inspired stories set to soft, soothing music, each one handcrafted to bring peace and connection. Whether you're welcoming a new baby, searching for a meaningful gift, or simply craving a moment of stillness, these lullabies are a beautiful way to say you are loved. Visit ChangeHappenedPodcast.com to order yours today.
I was very intelligent at the time. I went from that to nothing. Very limited intelligence. They said that my capacity was really low at that point. And so I felt, you know what? Let's try this. Let's see what I can do. Let's see what I can overcome. This really difficult situation, shitty situation, if I may, happened to me. And now I'm left with, what do I do with my life? My life, as it was known, was over. But out of the darkness comes light. There's always a glimmer of hope. I never missed a semester of school after my accident. And what happened, I met with the psychologist professor. He saw me in a wheelchair because I was in a wheelchair for 3 months after my accident was over and I was recovered. And he convinced me to try a couple psychology courses. He said, try a couple psych courses. If you like them, great. If you don't, no harm, no foul. I ended up graduating with not 1, but 2 degrees. I fell in love with psychology and I finished my music degree.
When Andy heard the words, "You're not going to be able to do much in life," something bigger inside him woke up. And he wasn't taking that for an answer. He was determined to prove that his story wasn't over, not by a long shot. He was going to hit the ground running, no pun intended. Well, maybe just a little. Andy went on to graduate with 2 degrees, complete multiple internships, and rebuild the life that so many believed was out of reach. But what he did to truly facilitate his healing goes far beyond the textbooks or retraining of his brain. This next part, the part that shows what real healing looks like, isn't about success or recovery. It's about forgiveness.
I have held on to this anger for so long. It was eating me up inside. Towards my accident, towards the man who hit me, I said, I gotta bury the hatchet, let things be. Because this was a staff member at the college who hit me. I sent in a direct email saying, hey, this is Andy Johnson, Mr. So-and-so. I know we've had history together, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit more. I'll let you know that there's no hard feelings. And 3 words changed my life. I forgive you. And that's so powerful right there for me to be able to utter those words and say them to him. It really changed and helped me heal. Because from then on, I knew that I could heal more fully, knowing that I wasn't harboring anger and hatred.
I think something truly amazing happens inside us when we find true forgiveness for the things that happened to us in this life. And that's often where the real healing starts, and would start for Andy. He would graduate with his 2 degrees. However, he tells me that when he does things, he likes to do them all the way.
I went on to go to school for rehabilitation psychology then. I get my master's in rehabilitation psychology from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Same thing again. I went jogging and thought I was healed up enough, only to find out I had a hairline fracture in my right shin bone, and I broke that bone pretty bad while jogging. Thankfully, I got to the intersection of the busy streets before I had it happen. The one thing that saved me was I had a knee brace on that leg, because I knew it was weaker, but that was the only thing that kept the bone intact. But that's when I really do. I had to take a step back and reevaluate things, reevaluate what it means to take it easy. I worked with a rehab team because I couldn't put any weight on my leg for another month or 2 after that injury. I completed a couple internships in graduate school for rehabilitation psychology, helping people with disabilities through vocational rehabilitation. And that's when I started working for the state government in Wisconsin. It was good for a while, so I really wanted to help people on a deeper level heal. And it opened the doors up for me to try something called brain spotting for myself as a client.
Brain spotting is a form of therapy that taps into something deeper than words. It works by helping the subconscious brain release old patterns, memories, and emotions that talk therapy can't always reach. Instead of focusing on what you say, it focuses on where you feel it in your body, the spots in your brain that hold on to trauma even when you think you've moved on. It's gentle but powerful. And for a lot of people, it becomes a doorway to healing that logic alone can't unlock. So when Andy found this form of therapy, something clicked. He saw it as a way to not only continue his own healing, but to help others heal on that same deep neurological level, where pain is stored and where real freedom begins.
What it basically uses is fixed eye position to help people find trauma points and help them process and reprogram the brain for healing rather than reprocessing trauma over and over and over again. We're never going to get away from the trauma itself, but we're going to get desensitized to it to the point where we look at it and we're not as activated. If, let's say, a hockey player is struggling because a puck is coming at him really fast and he's been hit in the throat, and every time he sees that puck come at him now, he flinches. I can work with them using brain spotting and help them become more calm, grounded, neutral, and remain in their element. So remain at peak performance level, decrease reactivity time.
At the time of this recording, Andy was running 2 practices, his talk therapy practice and his brain spotting practice. He's a huge advocate for making mental health part of everyday life and for using it as a powerful tool in trauma recovery. So, as we wrapped up our conversation, I asked Andy what keeps him smiling today after everything he's been through, and this is what he had to say.
Knowing that there's hope, that no matter how crummy I feel in the morning or how crummy I feel the day before, today is a new day. Grab it by the horns and make it yours.
What a beautiful outlook on life. When I reflect on our conversation, I'm struck by how selfless Andy is, how genuine his desire is to help others heal. So when I asked him for one piece of advice to share with anyone walking their own road to healing, I wasn't at all surprised by what came next.
Forgiveness isn't for the person who is being forgiven, it's for the person who's doing the forgiving.
Andy's selfless nature wouldn't have let him say anything else. And how right he is, because forgiveness isn't for the one being forgiven, it's for the one who needs to heal. Before I started putting this episode together, I checked in with Andy to see how he was doing. And I'll be honest, I was a little saddened to hear that life had thrown him a few more tests, including some health challenges. But in true Andy fashion, he's finding a way to make lemonade out of the lemons he's been given. The good news is, he's also settled into a new place that suits him really well. And even through it all, Andy told me something that sums him up perfectly. That no matter what life deals him, he knows his purpose is to help others. So wherever life takes him, he's going to keep doing just that. You can read more about Andy and the links to his socials in the show notes or at changehappenedpodcast.com. And now it's time for this week's Change Challenge question. Where did Andy get his master's degree from? Head over to changehappenedpodcast.com and submit your answer for a chance to win a super soft tee or trucker hat. Our first monthly drawing will be held November 18th, so make sure to get this week's entry in. If this episode spoke to your heart, I'd love for you to visit changehappenedpodcast.com to join our monthly mailing list. It's also where stories like this continue, with blog reflections, more about each guest, and ways you can support the show. And if you've got 30 seconds, leaving a review or 5 stars helps more people like you find stories like this. Think of it as paying for your coffee at the local coffee shop. Change Happened, Then What? Is written, edited, and produced by me, Heather Holt, with the loyal background vocals from my 2 sidekicks, Waylon and Dalton. Until next time, keep smiling and maybe let your dog produce your next big idea.
There's always a reason to always choose joy. There's something deeper that the world can't destroy. Smile when you think you can't. Smile, get up and dance. Smile, there's a bigger plan. The storm only lasts for a while. So smile.